Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing? Oh man, people always talking about spilling the tea on something. Well, guess what, y'all? I'm about to spill the tea on me. I love to teach. It's a part of what I do, and I'm going to be telling some pretty vulnerable information about myself. You can hear my family in the background. Um, but anyway, give me just 1 second to share this video to my group. Yep, bam, I got it. It's there. And so I'm really big on people understanding the growing pains of business, the mindset hurdles that you have to overcome. And I honestly know that one of the best ways to help people get there is by actually allowing them the opportunity to see what it looks like for somebody else to work through the shit. And so in business, most of the time, what we see the highlight reels. We see oh, look at what I've accomplished and look at what all I've done and look at how great I am and look at how good my business is doing. And in the meantime and in between time, in the background, women are suffering. And it's we got to stop this. So for me, some people think that it's doing too much, that it's going too far, but I'm a firm believer in, hey, I don't care. I'm going to air my dirty laundry. I'll tell you my stories. Hey, yay, you figured the live thing out. I see you chatting over here on YouTube, which is going to make it so much easier for me, Dana. Da 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 da. So anyway, let me keep on going. I'm just like super duper excited. I'm waiting on somebody else to join too, and maybe they'll even join through YouTube. But we'll see. So anyway, I'm considered to be a woman that has very masculine energy, which so that means that most people would think that, oh, well, that means that, nothing bothers her. She's such a badass. She's so hardcore. And especially since I'm always talking this stuff about how women shouldn't let their emotions get in the way of how they do business. But that doesn't mean that I am emotionless. It just means, right, I see yellow, you too. It just means that I don't have a tendency to be ruled by my emotions. Doesn't mean I don't feel them. It just means that I have a tendency to not be ruled by them. But I want to elaborate through some things going all the way because we're almost at the end of the year. I've had a very good year in my business. I'm very proud of some things that have happened, but I almost could have lost the momentum I began building at the beginning of the year. And so I'm about to spill the tea on me. Now, for those of you that know, towards the end of last year, it really hit hard that my grandmother probably wasn't going to make it to see another year. And so, right before Thanksgiving, actually, literally an entire week before Thanksgiving, I went down to St. Louis. I spent an entire week with her, and it was a heart throbbing situation because my grandmother was dealing with Alzheimer's. And I remember being very, very heartbroken because she didn't remember me when I called her on the phone, and it hurt me because my grandmother's the woman who raised me. My mother gave me to my grandmother when I was 18 months. And so anyway, I went to St. Louis, and there were some really powerful, dynamic things my grandmother said to me. She was, making comments about why older women had a tendency not to want to be around me as a child. She talked to me and told me to continue doing what I was doing because of the women that would need to emulate my behaviors, be themselves, but be like me. And my grandmother knew nothing about my business. This is what was so creepy about it. Because I mean, not that somebody couldn't have said something to her, but y'all need to know that I come from hater radiation in my family. They the kind of people, they own you, they like you, and they know you if you around, but out of sight, out of mind. And I've always been the black sheep of the family. And so she barely even remembered, she didn't even remember who my husband was, let alone my two most recent children. So her short term, recent memories were pretty much a dud. And so I spent the entire time telling her over and over and over again about me, about Larry, and all of this other stuff. And so, anyway, for her to be talking and for me to establish this business years, after I left St. Louis, and to know that she had started digressing and losing her memory before I had even left St. Louis. I didn't know that that's what it was. I was like, pretty kind of tripping. But my family was lying to me the entire time that I was gone. And so by the time all of that got done, I realized that I had been holding back on something. Now, I started doing summits back in 2017, and every summits are not for everybody, but if you can do them, they are a very, very powerful way for you to build your email list and to get access to people to increase your clientele, your cash flow in your business. And my first year, when I tell you I beasted it, I actually put on two summits within 60 days of each other. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these two summits annually, the Business Mastery Summit, the Real Women Don't Bitch Summit. Woo, 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 woo. But what ended up happening is I dealt with so much betrayal, so much backbiting, people taking shit, that I was like, man, doing this is for the birds, because you're the person who's doing the interviews, doing the editing, creating the graphics, or paying for it to be done, running the ads. Everybody gets benefits by us all being collectively connected. However, the issue is that the bulk of the work goes on to me, which is why my list should be the one that grows the fastest first, because everybody's opting in through me. Hey, Camille, I see you. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that, that people should just, treat you any kind of way. Oh, I'm helping you build your list because, if I participate in your summit, when at the end of the day, a lot of people that participate in summits, they don't even promote to their list. They might say something once or twice on social media. What they're hoping is by everybody else promoting the summit and people seeing their interviews, their list is going to grow. And so I was very upset about it. But here's the beautiful thing. For the two summits that I conducted, I was able to statistically see which clients came from all of that work, how long they stayed with me, and how much money I can make. And so when I started going through about the middle part of last year, I realized that my client influx was lesser. I was like, "Ooh, shit!" And introspection, CEO mentality. What's going on with your business? What do you need to change? What can you do more of? And it dawned on me, duh, you cut off your flow. Yes, you have your opt-ins, your websites. Yes, you do all of these different things. And me and my husband, I was like, you know what? I'm the queen of summits. I am the queen of putting on a bona fide killer ass summit. I've got to get back to it. But then I had to sit back and I had to do some mindset work, because I realized that I just really didn't like the shit that I dealt with dealing with other people. So fast forward to me going to see my granny, and by the end of that year and her telling me what she told me, I remember going into a group because I was like, oh my God, I need to start doing summits again. So I started doing the summits. And then I was like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? I realized that this is what, God would have me to do. And I remember even going into the group and telling them that I needed to release my grandmother, all of this stuff. And simultaneously, the same day that I said I need to release my grandmother, she said, my aunt sent me an email that said my grandmother said she's ready to go now because she knows God. And on New Year's Eve, my grandmother passed. So she did not make it into 2019. And so I was doing what I was doing, getting the summit going, super duper excited to be working with the women I'm supposed to be working with. And God gave me a message. And I told my accountability partners, if I remember correctly, I even said this shit live on Facebook. I said, moving forward, God said, don't take things personal. People always say, what's your word for the year? Progression, all of this stuff, vision, yada, yada, yada. Mine was a phrase. Don't take things personal. So as I continue to go through my journey, I see some other comments are coming up. I'm coming. I continue to go through my journey. All kind of shit started happening. And I remember doing a video where I talked about, betrayal and the kind of shit that people will do to you, how it will make you feel. And I was like, oh, y'all tried to get me. Okay, you remember that. Camille saying she remembers it. She's up on the other page. Well, I remember doing this live video. I was like, yeah, and this stuff right here, I ain't gonna lie, say that it got to me, but that's okay. Because Judas betrayed Jesus, but Jesus was still able to look at Judas and he knew that he was going to betray him and yada, 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 and so on and so forth. And so I was like, yeah, and I can't get distracted from the movement. I can't get distracted from what I'm supposed to do. So mind you, it's all still fresh in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Don't take nothing personal. Don't take nothing personal. I ain't taking shit personal. Y'all like to get me distracted. And I was doing so good, so good. But when I tell you, mm, 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 I had a Judas right there with me, and she was so fucking beautiful. I never ever would have known it. And so when she and somebody else started egging at me, and one of them happened to be a client. Before I knew it, I was actually consumed with anger, emotionally distraught. Like, who the hell do these people think they are? After all the help that I'm doing, all the things that I'm doing, and you could see it, you could hear it. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not one to hide my emotions. I am known for being hashtag rant mode on Facebook. So when I say that, I'm not saying it like it's something strange, but it did stick with me for a lot longer than usual, and I could feel it, but it didn't matter because I had already had other stuff that I was doing. So after all of that, guess what? I realized that I was about to be in the same place. That same old tape tried to rewind and come back to hit me because guess what? All this confusion was going around when I was launching the fact that the Real Women Don't Bitch Summit, and that summit was supposed to be happening in about another week. But I had shut off the summit and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I feel intuitively led to stop. I have no idea why, but I am going to stop. And so I was like, well, I'm working on my own social media networking site. So what do? We start rationalizing ourselves, right? I was like, oh, well, if I'm creating my own social media networking site, then maybe it's a sign from God that I should stop. And until I get the site together, whether that's the end of the year or the top of next year, then bring the summit back. And so, bam, there we go. That makes perfect sense. Fast forward, see more comments coming in. Fast forward, I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute. That wasn't it. It's deeper than that. You said the energy vampires come in so many faces, right? And the higher you elevate, the more nuanced they come. And that's why you got to keep your circle really fucking small and tight. And if you're really genuine, it's going to be really tight anyway, because people end up having to put out their claws. They can't pretend to be the love and light bullshit and, all of that stuff that they say that they are. But what I realized is at the end of the day, I had allowed myself to be altered. And it's so funny, right? Because one of the people was a client. And after I did a video in a group, one of the people in my group is an accountability partner. Because please understand, even though I'm a business coach, I work with phenomenal women. They're still my fucking peers. And the fact that I reached out to her and said, I know you, because she saw what was going on in the group. And energetically, I said, look at the video. What do you think? And when she was like, you told the truth, but you did get sucked into her energy. And even in the video, I said, yeah, unlike you, I can at least admit when I'm feeling some kind of way because energetically you did this. And this is what I'm saying to you because you need to see. And I was like, girl, when I sent you the message, I already knew it was off. She hadn't seen the video yet. I deleted the video and decided to handle the conversation with a woman in a different way. And y'all might be like, God damn it, this might as well be, like a love and hip hop series. I told you it's some real shit that go on with culture, but people don't really talk about it because I know I'm not an anomaly like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, before I fucking digress with everything that I'm saying, there's a huge ass point to all of this. You right, yeah. So sorry, my numbers are so small. Yes, they are, girl. Like this, like you can't even look through it. But it's like it's so small. It's like a granny trying to look through the eye of a needle with a cataract. I'm just saying. Okay. So anyway, my corny cheesy comedy because I wish I was one back in the day. That and a rapper. But anyway, so when I realized that, and I was like, oh man. So here it goes. I reach out to my accountability partners and I tell them that, it was deeper than that. And so you just saying instant date over and laughing at me too. And I had to come back to him. And so what the issue really was is that these other women were women of color. I am for all people, but I had also been convicted to make products that were specifically for Black women. And what I did was with that summit said women of color. And so I had to realize that everything that I went through, it wasn't even because of their energy or anything. It was because I was in violation of what God told me to do in the first place. Y'all, I ain't churchy. I'm very spiritual. I love me some God. But girl, thank you. Kamisha said she want a reaction button. Hey, one day peeps, so maybe they'll upgrade all of that. But anyway, so I realized that the issue was not to say that Black women will never betray me or something like that, but still, God, this is what God spoke to me. And he was like, "You're supposed to do women of color." So I had to do this whole thing with what was I doing and how I wasn't, really you see Dana said she was looking for emojis too. To look at me, you need to grab your phone really quick and go off the video and hurry up and just put a bunch of laughing faces or some shit in there. But anyway, so this is where it all comes to a head. Now, aside from the fact that I relaunched the summit, all of a sudden, within like 48 hours, I'm reaching out to all of these women, what's good, and then telling them the mission. They're like, oh my God been dealing with me about the same thing. I need to be doing things that's specifically for Black women and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And then I start reading this book. Now, let me explain something to you all. I did study Reiki level 1 with one of my clients. Her name is Tiffany. She's a Vibhati Energy. I love to send shout outs to my people whenever I can. And so after, going to Dallas and doing that with her, I remember maybe a few months later, I was like, give me some books to read. So mind you, I got like 4 or 5 books. I read a lot, but I'm always reading a plethora of other things. And then so finally, literally yesterday, I said, I think it's time for me to read the 4 agreements. I have no idea what the 4 agreements are. Shit, fire, rain, I don't know. It's the stars, moon. So the first agreement has to do with being impeccable with your word, not sinning with your own mouth on yourself or somebody else. That one, it was edgy. It makes you reflect on what's coming out of your mouth. But that's not what tripped me out. What tripped me out was the second agreement is, catch this, and I see you got some more comments coming in. The second agreement is don't take anything personal. Sometimes you just got it. What the blood clot? I'm like, what? I mean, out of all of the things, it was specifically, and the second agreement is don't take anything personal. You gotta be kidding me. Like, right, God? Like, right? See, this is what I'm saying. This is why I believe in God. I don't believe in God because, there's 66 books in the Bible and there's some missing. Sorry, I always gotta throw my shade in there, hashtag petty. But anyway, at the end of the day, I listened to that and I was like, oh my fucking God. Yes, the confirmations are off the chain. Out of all of the things, and as I'm listening to the author speak, in short, what he was saying is this. Yes, hashtag Petty Betty. For real, Dana, you've not seen me in action. For real. But now you kind of did with that one tea lady situation. So, but anywho, moving forward before I get myself in trouble and say something by slipping I'm not supposed to, and then lie and say it's a Freudian slip. You say you love the 4 agreements is required reading for my rites of passage. Dap you up. So anyway, and the person's in there speaking. Now, mind you, if I was coaching somebody, I would have said the same shit. But this is why we need accountability partners. This is why we need mentors. We need coaches. This is why you have to read. Sometimes your coaches have to be added to your list, girl. We might read it through the book club, okay? Because this one just came to me out of nowhere. But mind you, it was like, yeah, when people respond to you crazy, don't take it personal. You know what I'm saying? Like if a person out of nowhere has a shitty day, they're like, you don't know what they've been through. Their day could have started off wrong. But then it also begins to elaborate on, people treat you how they treat themselves. And I'm like, I know that. And then it dawned on me. One of the closest people that was connected to me, who always was like my sister, basically pulled the angry Black woman card on me. And for those of you that saw my live video earlier today, I talked about how if Becky has an issue and she's like, oh my God, this is horrible. I am totally outraged. This needs to be fixed. That it's different when Sister Girl comes and say, oh no, see, this right here is unacceptable and you're going to have to change this right now. When Becky goes crazy, it's like, oh my God, you are so right. What are we going to do? Sister Girl gets the response of, August, I know, but just calm down. We're always fucking told to calm down as Black women, but it is very rare that any other race is not allowed, yes, to process their fucking emotions. And Becky gets to be mad and then all of a sudden say, you know what? I'm gonna write a letter for my movie fanatics. You'll like the fact that I said this shit. Right, don't tell me that ever because it only turns me all the way up, okay? And I go from petty to goddamn the atomic bomb, but any atomic petty. Atomic Betty, not Petty. But anyway, but at the end of the day, the sister girl, when she get through, she gonna be like, you know what? I'm taking this all the way to the top. Time to make it all the way up to the CEO. Even if I got to go through the whole fucking entire chain of fucking command, we end up coming to the same solution. But for whatever reason, we ain't never allowed to do that. And so because I was venting, expressing myself, she unfollowed everything. She didn't reach out to me and say, sister girl, you okay? Mrs. I'm afraid I'll ever lose you out of my life. Unfollowed everything. And then told me that she did it because I was uncharacteristically angry. And it hurt me so bad because I had did so much stuff for this woman, considering the dire straight situation that she was in. I'm like, you don't owe me anything. But if anybody knows my genuineness of heart, my love, my character, my giving, my support, and how everything that I do is not about the money, motherfucker, you do. You know what I'm saying? That's what my brain is thinking. And that's one of the reasons why it hurt me so bad. Thus, I got emotionally charged by all of this stuff. But immediately, once I started reading the Four Agreements, it was like, but she did to you what she would do to herself. She does not allow herself the freedom of expression. Whether it's her mother, her father, her brothers, her friends, her community, the country that she lives in, she stifles her voice. And so, for so long, for a season, she admired, and I'm coming to the comments, she admired your ability to be raw, real, relentless, authentic in all seasons. But as her life kept getting more and more difficult and she couldn't speak up, then she tried to impose her shackles on me and tried to shut me the fuck up. And so I'm like, it had fucking nothing to do with me at all. Let that shit go. You say the abusive tropes against Black women are exhausting. Yes, they are. And she can't say characteristic if she doesn't know your character character. Hello, I've been in character, right? For real, for real. But anyway, so Lord, let me make sure I'm keeping up with these comments because I think I see more comments than actually updated on the post. And so what does all of this have to do with, right? What does all of this have to do with you in business? Even though you can emotionally go through whatever it is that you're going through, if you don't take these times to be very introspective and to keep yourself wide open for God to give you revelations, then you miss growing pains. Because the ultimate thing for me was not the continuous justification of what the fuck was wrong with these women. Because it was some wrong, it really is. And I don't have time to tell that story. If you go back and listen to the podcast episodes I did for about 2 weeks in a row, you'll be saying, damn, them bitches was crazy. No offense, but like seriously. I mean, they really were tripping. But nevertheless, if you don't deal with that, you won't be able to move forward with collaborations. You won't be able to move forward with connections. And so for me to really understand this, I don't put on summits like anybody else. When I do my summits, it is one of the most energetically contagious situations that you will ever fucking be in. The way that my women support and honor and represent one another, not just the summit, but one another, it is still unparalleled. And I'm shocked as hell to see what this is going to look like when it expands on a truly larger scale. And if I allowed myself emotionally to be suckered in, I would have been back in the same spot that kept me from launching the summit. I would have just kept on postponing. Instead of getting these shackles taken off of me and coming back with even more of vengeance. Because I am, and many of you are, the catalyst for change for other people. You don't have to be a perfect catalyst. You can't be a perfect catalyst, but you're a catalyst nonetheless. And so I have to continue to do what I'm doing and continue to make sure that I'm very conscious of my thoughts, my opinions, the relationships that I'm cultivating while I'm moving forward and creating these contagious opportunities on my platform. And so even though I'm of a masculine energy, even though I am known not to take no shit, I am still a human being. I do have a soft side. And honestly, I'm just an introvert and I am closed off. I don't like any bullshit, but I am truly, I promise you, one of the most caring, compassionate people. And I will give, I'm like Olivia Pope style. I'm like over the cliff. That's why I tell people all the time, I'm a down in the trenches with you level coach because I understand there's so much shit that we go through. And I can't afford to allow anybody to shackle me to the point that I'm like, you know what? See, that's why I'm just not going to do this shit no more. Because I can't allow one person or a couple people here or there to have me so distracted and so moody that I stop serving the hundreds of thousands and eventually millions of women that I am created to impact. And I pass that same love and blessing on to you. You said I've been a solo groomer for 14 out of the 16. So collaboration is tough. But yeah, you get all your legal stuff together, and there's so many things that I learned going into the process that when it comes to talking about collaborations, that's why remember the thing with you and the other person, and I was like, don't be throwing nothing together because when you be like, but it's just the group. I'll be like, no, it ain't no just no nothing. And so part of the way that you protect yourself is by having your legal business in order. Yeah, I know it was a hot mess. And I ain't even trying to be funny, and this is no shade whatsoever, but I don't even know if you peep game that when the question was asked, that individual presented it more so. They can say, oh, it's a joint thing. But like, yeah, but I was gonna offer this and I was gonna offer that and blah blah. And it's like, wait a minute. Then your conversation went from us to me. And so that right there spoke volumes. Girl, by the time I get through with you, you're gonna be like, look, August make me dissect every word that come out of people. Did you say I? Was that I as in you, or was that I as in your left eye or your right eye? And is it a difference with the right or the left one? Is you seeing right or you seeing wrong? You're gonna be a wordsmith on another level. You already are a brilliant woman, but from a business perspective, you're gonna be like, hold up, nah, I can't have that. But let me stop because I'm being silly. So but that was my biggest thing. So yeah, we can get these profound messages and we can say we know them, we understand, and that we get them. And you need to understand that, especially when you say that the divine has given you something, then typically a lot of times right after that are the challenges. The challenges where you still have to stand. You say you can fucking wait. I know you. Oh yeah, you peep that too. Thank you, Kami. Yeah, and that's why that one particular individual, when they were like, "Oh, my mom is trying to put bills off on me," I was like, "Go in that group and keep it real. How your mama putting bills on you if you living in your mama's house? Then you ain't even had, And so I was like, go tell you what it is because that is manipulation. When you tell the story from a narrative that allows people to look at you like the victim, that is manipulation in the most negative, connotative way that I've ever seen. But anyway, we will not digress into that one either. But and isn't it so funny though? But just to say this for those, some of you guys might be like, I want to know, I want to know. If you don't know, you don't need to know. But isn't it funny that that person would say that I'm uncharacteristically angry and see me calling it manipulation is the nice way. The real way is to say that she was a fucking liar. You were a liar about your circumstances. Your coach had to call you out and tell you to go say that shit the right way. And so, just not a stable person, not a stable at all. But you lied. So which one's worse? Lying or being angry? Lying or being angry about motherfuckers treating you wrong? Hmm. I don't. That's a rhetorical question. We'll leave that shit alone. But anyway, but that person was just desperate to make money, and they would use any opportunity that they had in front of them. That's what that really pretty much boiled down to. I know they do, and that's one of the reasons why I got a no nonsense, hardcore way about coaching people and calling them out on shit immediately. Because when I start seeing that stuff, which also may ought to make y'all laugh at that post I put on Facebook about my zodiac sign and about not fooling me and being like, hold up. But anywho, so what message did you receive? What thing were you told to do? And just when you think you got it, always keep it at the forefront of your mind that you may have to revisit that thing again. So I know that this was a little bit longer. Yes, Team Capricorn in the house. This was a little bit longer than the videos that I have done, but it has been a minute since I've done a hardcore live for the group. And for those of you that are watching, like, what is she talking about? She keeps on saying hardcore live for the group. I'm gonna keep on wearing y'all out until y'all get it together. But you know, you can be anywhere and everywhere. I want you all to be on every social media platform you feel like it. But if you want to be on one that's about relationships and not algorithms, you need to come to aclive.co. If you don't have to be a business owner because maybe you're following someone that you're connected to. But let me tell you something. Yes, hashtag AC Live. AC Live, which stands for Authentic Collective. So I want you to come in there and be your real self to the umpteenth degree. But if you're a business owner, especially if you're a Black woman in business and you watch this video and you need to be somewhere where your expression isn't questioned because of all this shit I said before, because it's got too much sister girl in it. If you want freedom, you want community, you want support, man, we got so much stuff going on. I just joined a group where it's actually, I thought it was vision boarding. People have to forgive me for that one. But this woman has a group where it's called, your birthday starts your year. And it's where you set your business goals and map them out based on your birthday. So how good is that to set a business goal and have the fiscal year restart on your fucking birthday? To me, that's fucking cool. And so I can't wait to see the process this woman is going to take us through, because you don't have to go January to December. And most big companies don't. Their fiscal year sometimes is in July, September, and so on and so forth. You said women should have their udders cut out and their throat slits. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. I'll have to figure out how to block all of that stuff later. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do it as we speak. Report, remove, da 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 da. Look at that. Da 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 da. Harassing, bullying. Isn't that funny? Yeah. Yeah. Da 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 da. You see, girl, I don't know. Let's see. I just reported them. So hopefully that stopped them from coming through. Oh wow, reporting does nothing. Yeah, I have to learn how to use the platform. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, all platforms are the same because you know, when you get through, thank you for the algorithm boost. Thank you for continuously putting comments on my page. And isn't this ironic, you guys? How when I'm talking about don't take things personal and evolving. See, this is yet another sign. At the end of the day, then another attack comes. You see what I'm saying? And we just got through talking about how when people treat you in a specific way, it has more to do with them not loving or liking themselves than it has anything to do with you. So when you abuse yourself, you abuse others. So you say gays need to put, let's see what we got. I'm willing to bet no man has ever touched you. Wow. Oh, so there it is, you guys. You can have all of the fun that you want, and and you here's something else that's so fucking funny, right? And to me, you missing all of this because you're not watching this from YouTube. But here's something else that's really really fucking funny. When you hear white people throw out racist banter like that, or when you hear them talk like that, and you look at how much shit they haven't accomplished with their life, and you look at the shit that you have accomplished with your life, then that really lets you know that there's some psychological shit going on. Anytime you look at the fact that everything that you touch, from a fucking iron to when you stop at a traffic light to when you cool off your motherfucking apartment or anything, that a black man or a black woman made it possible. Every time you look at your president sitting in the White House, you know that a quote unquote dumbass nigga created all of that. Then you have to sit there and look and say, yeah, I can see where that person is envious. I can see why that person is jealous. I can see why that person would have to attack, because your self-esteem has to obviously be very, very, very fucking low if you have nothing better to do than to violate the first of the four agreements, and that is to not be impeccable with your voice and to actually use your voice as an agent of sin by speaking black magic onto other people. But you guys already know that at the end of the day, that when you are solid in who you are and what you're doing, nobody speaking evil or anything against you can do anything. So I'm gonna get my butt off of here so that this poor little bored person can have a life. And thank you all for joining me. Until next time, deuces.